everyone. This is Karen Leonard with Special Needs Group. I'm your travel industry ambassador, and I'm so thrilled to have with me a wonderful travel advisor by the name of Sue Slater. And Sue is the owner of Presto Magic Travel, and she is going to share a lot of her experience with us. Our goal today is just to really explore traveling and working with a travel advisor if you have special needs. I will be chatting for you all of her information so that you can feel free to reach out to Sue at any time during this conversation or anytime you see it in the future for her to help you plan your dream vacation. So Sue, thank you so much for joining me today and welcome.
Thank you. Welcome. I'm looking forward to our discussion and seeing you again.
Yeah, you too. You too. So let me hear a little bit about you and how you got involved in travel and how long you've been you've owned Presto Magic and so forth.
Okay, so for anybody out there, I'm completely blind. I have a hereditary eye disease called retinitis pigmentosa, and I slowly lost my sight between 20 and 35. I was looking for something to do at home, and my husband was reading a magazine called Travel and Leisure, and he came to me and he said, Susie, I have the perfect job for you with your passion for travel. There's this new profession called an outside travel agent, and I think you'd be perfect for it. I'd always planned our travel, and that was in 2000, and that's how I started. And today is my 20th year as a travel agent, and I love it even more now than when I started.
That is fantastic. And congratulations on your anniversary. That's longevity says something in and of itself, regardless. And we've had many challenges, including this past year in the travel industry in general. So I applaud you for, hanging in there and building a travel business throughout all the challenges that we faced over the years. I'm a former travel advisor myself, so I'm a little bit aware of what you've dealt with, but this year has just blown everything out of the water. So thanks again for your longevity. So tell me a little bit about how you work with special needs clients. How do you determine what they need and what you can do to help them?
So what I do is when they call me, I listen and I ask specific questions. I ask them how they travel. When was the last time they traveled? What types of things they needed to travel with to make travel seamless, if they travel by themselves or with other people. I find out what kinds of inclusions they need, if they need special equipment, if they need special tours arranged, if they're visually impaired, if they're deaf, if they're in wheelchairs. All of these special needs include special things particular to that type of a special need. So I do the research, I know the right people to contact, and I know the right way to customize the vacation to exactly what they're looking for.
You know what? I am so glad you said it that way. As a former travel advisor, I think it's so important that people do use travel advisors, and you just demonstrated your expertise by knowing who to contact and what's involved and so forth. And just to encourage people to step up and use a travel advisor like Sue, who not only deals with special needs but can help you plan every aspect of your travel. Wouldn't you say? What things about being a travel advisor would you say you bring to the table more so for somebody that maybe has never used a travel advisor before? Why would we use one?
So I bring to the table the special training and expertise that I've done over the years, the places that I've been to, the way that I've traveled, the way that I've sent other clients to travel. And my best compliment is when somebody with a special need comes back and says, Sue, you nailed it. You made my travel seamless. You made me have fun. You made me realize that even with special needs, I can still travel like I used to travel. It just takes a little bit extra time and some do-arounds, but it's possible. And I can still travel, and I'm looking forward to my next adventure.
Oh, that's fantastic. So what challenges have you face in your life and with your spouse that you've had to overcome in order to travel together?
So, as I told you, I'm blind, and most of my travel's been done since I lost my sight. And basically, what I need is an arm, description, smell, touch, and being able to arrange special tours with description. My husband had other multiple issues. He had a botched knee replacement in
Mm.
2009, and after 12 surgeries, he went from a cane to a walker to an amputation of his leg from a staph infection and into a wheelchair 24/7. And then for 2 years before he passed away in February, he was on dialysis.
Mm.
I was able to make all the special arrangements, and we traveled together up until a month before he went into the hospital in December of 2019. So I personally know what it takes to make travel possible.
Well, that sounds, I mean, first of all, it sounds like you and your husband were able to live a very full life, even with all of the incredible adversity that you faced. So I applaud you in your attitude towards life, your husband's attitude towards life. And, I think what you have to offer is just invaluable, Sue. So, what's the most amazing travel that you've ever done by yourself?
Oh, so this is so cool. In 2016, I was picked to be one of 8 travel agents, 4 from the United States, 4 from Canada, by Intrepid Tours. They wanted to show other people how they could make travel inclusive for people that couldn't see. So I packed my bags and I flew by myself from St. Louis to LaGuardia, navigated a shuttle to JFK, flew overnight on Air Morocco, navigated the airport in Casablanca, not speaking Arabic or French,
Wow.
convinced them to let me get my suitcase before they got me to my shuttle. I came in 2 days before the other travel agents did so I could do sightseeing in Casablanca. They took me to the hotel. The bellhop took me up to my hotel room, showed me how to get in and out of the hotel, and showed me where everything was. I have the gift of being able to learn a new place, a hotel, an apartment, a stateroom in 15 minutes to a half an hour max because I do a map in my head. They assigned a private travel guide to meet me in Casablanca and take me anywhere I wanted to go. And then during the next 10 days with the travel agents, we traveled in an SUV Mercedes throughout from Casablanca to Marrakesh. We stayed in guest houses in villages in Riyadh and Marrakesh. With the help of a wing only, I went up 100 steps in a village because cars couldn't go to it. I went up mountains and visited Roman ruins. I went around flea markets and just did amazing stuff. I experienced the people, the country, the foods. I ate a camel burger. They wanted to make sure that the donkeys didn't run me over in the villages and that the mopeds didn't run me over in Marrakesh. Then I flew back by myself from Casablanca to New York, stayed in 2 hotels by myself because of weather delays, and then flew back to St. Louis and went home. It was absolutely fantastic.
That is amazing. Absolutely amazing. I'm sure.
It it
Go ahead.
showed me, yeah, it showed me that I could travel anywhere by myself.
Absolutely. And I love that confidence that you just exude about doing that. That's fantastic. I hope a lot of people who see this video can gain that confidence by working with you and getting that opportunity to travel.
I
Wow.
hope so.
That's so crazy. What's the most complicated trip I think that you've ever planned for anyone?
So I had this lady, and she had multiple health issues. She used a walker, a scooter, and portable oxygen.
Oh, wow.
And she wanted to go by herself by train to meet her friend in Seattle, and then from Seattle to go to Alaska and do a land tour, and then from there do a cruise, and then go back by train from Seattle.
Wow.
So, yeah. So I arranged a 1 bedroom for her on the train. I arranged the portable oxygen for her When she came into Seattle and into Alaska, I arranged for scooters for her, and she had an amazing vacation. And I've done 2 more vacations for her since she came back.
Oh my gosh. Well, that's the best compliment you could ever get, right? Exactly.
Yes, exactly.
Repeat business. Well, that's the one thing I think, especially people with special needs, when you find an advisor like you who can work with them and meet all of their needs and do it with grace and dignity, they're definitely going to be coming back, because why would they want to start over with somebody new, right? So
Right.
it's so nice for you to have that, paycheck of the heart, I like to call them, where somebody comes back and they demonstrate that trust in you. That's fantastic. So, how do you arrange tours for people, say, that have a visual impairment or something of that nature?
So, what I do is to find out where they're going, what types of things they want to do. And then what I do is I do the research. I find the phone numbers for the museums, for the historic homes, for the theme parks, for SeaWorld. And I call their educational department, and I just, stay on the phone till I get to the right person, tell them who I have visiting, when they're coming, to see what they can do for them, and then I arrange them. I do the same thing for people that are visually impaired and blind as I do for myself. So I know personally what it takes and who you need to talk to do it. For example, I was in New Orleans before a cruise that I led in January, and I came in by myself for a couple of days before the rest of the people. And I called the Jazz Museum, I called the World War II Museum. I arranged for people to meet me when I came there by Uber to do special tours for me. They took pictures for me, they took videos for me, they toured me around, they got me back to an Uber when we were finished so I could go back to my hotel. And I had the most amazing tours. I was in Bentonville, Arkansas the first week in November, and I did the same thing for myself. I arranged a touch tour at the Crystal Bridges in Bentonville. I arranged a touch tour at the Peel House and Gardens, which is a historic house on the historic register in Bentonville. So these are the types of things that I do for myself, and I also do for any of my clients who are visually impaired and blind and either traveling by themselves or traveling with other sighted people in their family.
So let me ask you, that just brings up a secondary question, if you don't mind. Do you find a lot of attractions, if you will offer these kinds of special tours, touch tours?
I find that more of them are offering them in the last couple of years than they used to, because inclusion is a new flavor of the month word. And
Mm-hmm.
so, because of that, a lot of museums are offering inclusion with 360 tours. So, in addition to just doing audio tours, they're describing exactly what the pictures look like, how big they are, the depths, the textures, so that a person that can't see can experience a picture just as if you were looking at it being a sighted person.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
find, yeah, I do find that a lot more places are offering it. And with Zoom, it even offers more experiences for people that are visually impaired. In St. Louis, for example, the Arch Museum is completely inclusive with tactile maps and audio tours and audio description. The Lincoln Museum in Springfield, Missouri has touch tours, and all of their movies has audio description. The Missouri History Museum in St. Louis is now doing special tours for the visually impaired and blind, and they have Zoom episodes that you can watch with audio description. They have a special accessible department. When I was in Crystal Bridges, the lady that took me on the tour has a degree in museum sciences, and her specialty is inclusion for the visually impaired and blind. So, yes, it's getting much better.
That's great. I love to hear that. That's obviously my passion too, working with special needs group. I'm all about, getting more inclusivity out there, letting people know that there are travel advisors such as yourself that can discover these things and help them to experience the world just as if, just as anyone else would as well.
Exactly.
So I know we talked about this a little bit before, but this is a little bit more specific on the question. How can the right travel agent who has the training and the personal knowledge and experience, how do you make it more accessible and more comfortable for your travelers? How do you make it easier for them?
Well, what I do is I customize the experience, as I said. So they're not having to scramble around to try to do all the different segments to make it a seamless experience. What they do is they call me, I do the research, I put all the segments together, I make sure that they have no surprises, that they know what to expect. I know the right questions to ask to make sure that a room is accessible for a person in a wheelchair, that if the person is deaf, there's going to be lights to show them what to do, that if a person is in a wheelchair, they're going to be able to get tours with lifts or find taxis to take them around. And if a person is visually impaired, they're going to be able to travel around, have guides, have special tours, show them what to do when they get to the airports, if they have to take trains, get transfers. So I'm a one-stop shop and I put everything together for them. And my experience and personal knowledge and the knowledge of all the clients that I've helped over the last 20 years helps me to be able to do this for anyone.
That sounds wonderful. I want you to plan my tour regardless.
I'd be glad to.
Well, I know that you said before that some of the museums and things are getting more inclusive. What other inclusions have you found that are maybe new or have been implemented to help people with special needs travel?
So audio description is becoming more standard, and two apps for the visually impaired and blind that I use and that are available in certain places, and which I hope will be available as standard operations going forward, are Ira and Be My Eyes. Ira is a paid service that cruise lines, resorts can sign up for, where the people take their smartphones, they have an app, they use the free services because the venues have signed up for it. A sighted person looks through their camera and helps them navigate the world. Be My Eyes is another app that's a volunteer app with 4 million volunteers all over the world that can also do the same thing. Ira is available in most of the airports, in banks, they're in museums all over the world. And as each year goes, they're getting more available. Things that are coming in the future for the visually impaired are wearables to help them navigate objects, know how far apart they are for a person, which is really important with social distancing.
Yeah.
And Apple, with their iPhone 12 Pro, has just put in something called LiDAR in their camera, which helps recognize objects and also helps people to social distance. And in the future, there will be hearing loops inside all events that will take away background noise and help people with hearing problems get better quality and be able to navigate events. And I am hoping that more tour buses will start having lifts on their buses and that resorts will put in golf carts to make people with mobility issues able to easily navigate and get around their premises. So these are
Now,
some things that are coming in some of my wish list items.
well, I have to tell you, I'm so impressed with you and your knowledge, not just about your own situation, but about other folks and what they have to, what challenges them and the changes that are coming down the pike. It's just so impressive to me that you've taken the time to learn all these things and to be up on all these things. And I truly believe that anyone with any kind of special need would just have the best time if they book with you. So I want to encourage everyone to do that. And so by saying that, I want to make sure that everyone who's listening has Sue's contact information. It is also in the chat of this Zoom meeting, but in case you can't see that, her cell phone number is 314 514.
Oh, 541.
Oh, 541. My typo. Sorry, guys. 314-541-8400. And again, 314-541-8400. And her landline is 314-726-6893. Again, 314-726-6893. You can also check out her website at Presto Magic Travel, that's altogether.com, Presto Magic Travel, or her email is cruiseaway2001@yahoo.com. So please do reach out to Sue. Hopefully you are aware, but if you're not, there will be lots and lots of specials coming up in January for what we call our wave season. So hopefully you'll all be able to take advantage of those. The cruise lines will be cruising in 2021 sometime. We know that for a fact. And
We do.
yes, and resorts are opening as we speak. So there's still lots of travel to be had. So I want to encourage you to use the fantastic services and knowledge of Sue to take care of that. And Sue, I want to thank you once again for joining me today and sharing your valuable insight and your knowledge with us.
Thank you, Karen, for this opportunity. And everybody out there listening, happy travels wherever you go. Travel is possible for anybody with the right inclusions. And I look forward to helping you plan any future travel for 2021 and beyond. Thank you.
I can't say anything further than that. So that's wonderful. And we'll see you all later. Thank you so much for joining us today. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.